So how's everything going?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Yeah, pretty good. Thanks for coming on.
I appreciate you asking.
Yeah, no problem. So I guess so we'll kind of get started with like the fitness thing. So how did you get, how did you get started in the fitness industry?
I started, I think like maybe, well, I've done like sort of athletic stuff all my life, on and off. But really getting into fitness, I'm thinking like 10 years ago, I started Muay Thai boxing, and
Okay,
then
yeah.
yeah, and then a little bit of just a very little bit of Brazilian jiu-jitsu, not very much.
Mm-hmm.
But just because I liked the MMA and stuff like that.
Sure.
And then we started doing a lot of the agility and body work and stuff like that. And then I realized that, oh, I've lost a lot of weight, but it's like I like to call it a skinny fat because you're skinny, but nothing looks good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it's not great.
Yeah.
So I found a magazine and I was like, this is what I want to look like. So I started like working out to achieve that. And I conquered that. And then I found the next one and the next one. And then one of my, I started personal training myself, like other clients, and doing
Mm-hmm.
nutrition and getting really into that. And it just started from there.
So when you said you were like always into, sports and things like that, where did that come from? Were your parents into athletics, or did you just kind of something that you wanted to do from the beginning?
Yeah, it was mostly recreational. It wasn't like I played sports for high school or anything like that, but
Hmm.
like in the neighborhood, we played football, we played basketball, we played baseball. We just always doing something. We were always pretty
Sure,
active.
sure. So,
Basketball was like one of my favorites, and
oh yeah.
so was softball. Yeah.
So how'd you get a Muay Thai? Because I used to do Muay Thai myself. So who got you into that?
Well, I had friends that owned a Muay Thai gym.
Okay.
And so I was like, yeah, I kind of like to sign on to this and do it. And when I got in there, I fell in love.
Yeah.
And they started promoting shows, and they would do the Friday night fights every weekend,
Hmm.
like once a month. And so then I would work the fights with them, and I've even judged Muay
Hmm.
Thai fights and all of that stuff. So it's like something it's always, if it's something that's on the TV, it really, I gravitate to it because I love it. I love watching it. I have
How
friends who do
are
it.
you are you still in the same area where that Muay Thai gym is, or did you move since then?
No, I've moved since then. I'm in Florida now,
Okay.
and at that time I was in South Carolina, and now I just haven't found one here
Hmm.
because I've been so focused on weight training and stuff like that. But I would love to get back into it to practice up at least, just because
Sure.
I miss it.
Whereabouts in Florida are you?
Uh, the Bonita Springs, it's right above Naples,
Okay.
on
Okay.
the
Yeah.
yeah, over on the west side of Florida.
Yeah. What made you make the move?
Well, my main thing is I wanted to be near the beach,
Hmm.
and I did look in South Carolina, but the weather there in the winter is cold, so you can't use the beach year round. So why even?
Right.
And plus, a lot of it's closed down. It's
Hmm.
pretty much a ghost town when it's cold. And so I was like, got to go south, got to go farther south. And I was like, I definitely want to be on the Gulf side because I like the color of the water, and it's it's just it's a picturesque day. Every day when you wake up, it's sunny, it's warm, you
Hmm.
get your vitamin D. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's like waking up in a dream.
Sure. Like we live in Nashville, Tennessee, right now, and it's my wife is from Florida, and we're actually have like a 5-year plan to move to back to Florida. So, because I mean, as you just can't beat it. The weather is so good, like you said, the beach is nice, and it's like it has that environment where like kind of conducive to people that are into fitness. It's kind of like California, Florida, those kind of areas are
Yes.
so like so. you know, into
Def-
that kind of scene, you know. So yeah, so so you are an IFBB pro, is that
I
correct?
am.
Okay, so when did you start into like getting into shows and things of that nature?
Um, I started competing when I lived in South Carolina, but I
Hmm.
mainly did like small shows. And I'm sorry,
Oh
I'm
no,
trying
no,
to
that's
figure
fine.
out my. I'm trying to figure out my
Hey, I've
my.
had so many, I've had so many technical difficulties. It's not even funny. It's like it seems like if it's not one thing, it's something
I
else.
know. I don't know what's going on.
If you need to take a second, don't worry about
I don't know. I don't know how to fix it.
it.
I don't know if they can see me now.
You want to restart it?
Yeah, I might ought to restart it just in case. There we go.
Got it back.
Yeah, let me get back in. There we go.
Yeah. So we were talking about just being in Florida and how awesome it is, and then transitioned into how like you got into your shows and things of that nature. So how did you first start out like getting into the fitness shows and things of that?
Um, I started when I was a personal trainer at the
Mhm.
gym that I was at. The training manager was watching me work out one day, and he came up and he goes, "I think you should compete." And I was like, "No way, that's not for me. I'm not able to do that." And then I was like, "I don't think I can get up there on stage and do that." And he was like, "No, you can do it. You can do it." I was like, "Well, the only way I'll do it is if you work with me and you train me so that I can get up there and look like that."
Mhm.
And so he was like, "Well, you're already, you're halfway there. We'll just tweak your food, tweak, your diet and this and that." And so I was like, "Okay." And then right before my first show, I realized I had to get up there on stage in that teeny weeny bikini. Like the thing came in, and I was like, "Nope, I can't do this."
You didn't know beforehand?
No, I kind of, but I didn't like. It didn't register. Like I was
Right.
thinking a regular bikini.
Right. Right.
And now I can't even wear a regular bikini. It doesn't fit right. And so then it was just like a major thing. I was like, "No, I can't do this." But once I got up there, um, I loved it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been a great experience. I've learned so much about my body, so much about food, so much about what you put into your body is what you actually are, how
Hmm.
to be healthy, how to just live your everyday life to make sure that you're healthy.
Right. I mean, that's huge, right? Like it's as
Yeah.
far as society is even concerned, you
Right.
think about how food has got to be the number one like major issue that people have
Yeah.
because I mean everything is processed, everything's got a bunch of sugar in it. People don't know what to eat, how to eat it.
Right.
It's always an issue. So it feels like once you conquer that, then you're good to go.
Well, the problem is the government or media or whomever gets
Hmm.
together and tells you what's healthy.
Right.
And just because it's stamped on a box, people think it's healthy, and
Right.
it's
You
definitely,
You
definitely,
remember you remember the like the pyramid? I can't even remember exactly what was on it,
yes,
but the pyramid they always taught in school, which is just
yes,
complete like nonsense. Yeah.
yes.
So yeah, that's it. That's all you got to eat, and you'll be healthy. And the proportions and everything was just completely skewed. And I mean, of course, like you also take into account that somebody who's physically active, most people aren't at
Right.
all physically active. So
Well,
you go ahead.
way back when that stuff was created, people did more.
Mm-hmm.
Like now, there's inventions for everything. You like basically you can lay on the couch and have food delivered to your door now, and
Right.
like so it's turned to where people don't actually they try to look for convenience and everything. They don't actually work or achieve or go after exactly what they're wanting.
Right.
whether it's to go to the store and get food.
Right.
And now, even now, Publix will deliver to you. They took out walking through the store. So it's like,
It's insane how like we had some family in town and we were thinking of getting something to eat, and then we thought about it. It was a little later and we're like, we don't have to leave. Like we don't
exactly.
have to leave. We can just have it brought to our house, which is,
Yeah.
and like to your point, back in the day, whatever that, day might be, people spend more like calories being burnt throughout the day, just ran like regular living. Now it's like you said, it's we actually have to go to the gym, have to go somewhere specifically to burn calories because your everyday life, you're almost burning nothing,
Right.
So
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. So you start, competing. What division did you start off at? Because you're a physique pro, right? Correct.
Yes.
Okay. So what did you start off? Did you start off with physique?
No, I started off in figure.
Okay.
Um, I've always had a lot more upper body muscle. I wasn't
Hmm.
able to do bikini. My frame is not, my
Right.
upper body builds too much to do bikini. But I started out in figure. I liked figure, but as I kept leaning out, they noticed that my lines kept getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So it was like, you're either gonna have to quit leaning out, or we're
Mm.
gonna have to put you over in physique. So I was like, yeah, let's just go ahead and knock it up, because like, to make everything come in proportionate, you have to lean out.
Right.
And so it was leaning out to that.
So you said that your upper body was is usually a lot, more developed.
Yeah, my upper body builds a lot quicker than my lower body, because I think because my legs are a lot longer. And so, like, for biceps, I don't really have to, like, I can do biceps,
Hmm.
but they build like super fast. And so I try to be careful. Everybody has that group though, whether
Right.
it be their legs or their arms or their shoulders or their chest. It's the someone has that group.
Right.
And so you just have to figure out what your group is, and you can kind of take it easy on that one to make sure that everything else catches up with it.
Sure, sure. Yeah, like for me, it's always been shoulders. Like it's just no matter I don't have to do anything, barely anything, and just my shoulders just always come in like large
Oh,
and
that's lucky.
full. So everything else though I probably have to work on. But yeah, so it's a genetic thing. And calves. Apparently for some crazy reason I have like enormous calves. That's
Wow.
the
Lucky.
But so you started off in figure and you just got better. We'll just call it better. And you went into physique. How long was it before you went from figure to physique?
Uh, Went from figure to physique. It was probably 2 years.
2 years. So in 2 years you developed so much that you couldn't even stay in the figure division, really, realistically.
Right. When I got serious about it, and I started, it was after I moved here and I got serious and I was in the gym, and within those 2 years I had grown from figure into physique. But
So
it was a lot of eating and a lot of beef.
so how much like weight did you actually put on? Because here's the other interesting thing. So like sometimes you'll see like Instagram pictures of people that and they look because of their development, they look bigger.
Right.
Then you'll see them in person, and these girls are like petite, very
Yeah,
petite.
very
Like some of the figure girls, like Sydney, Gillian and Latoya. You'll look at them and in their pictures they can look really larger than you think, and then when I was standing next to some of them, they're very very petite girls.
right.
So how much weight did you put on from figure to physique, if any at all?
It wasn't very much actually, because what I did was I lost more body fat.
Okay.
So of course, more fat you lose, the fat doesn't weigh as much as muscle.
Hmm.
Plus, you put on a little muscle, so it kind of evened out.
Okay.
And the leaner you are, the of course the bigger you look.
Sure.
So as far as being on stage, because you're looking at an angle up this way.
Hmm.
So these guys and these girls are looking they're looking huge because they're super lean, and all you're seeing is rips and muscles and this and that in a picture. But when you see us in person, it's like like
Right.
this like this.
Right. Right. The waist is so small.
Yeah,
Yes. But how, like, what are your proportions as far as like waist when you're on stage? Do you remember? Do you recall?
I really don't remember. I'm going to be
Okay.
honest. I know we measured, but I can't remember. I
Because
know
you,
my biceps were 14.
okay, that's pretty good for,
Mistake.
hmm
I'm a little smaller now. My biceps aren't quite that size now. It's a little
So
disappointing, but
so how did you take a break in competing? Are you looking forward to another show? Like what's going on with
well,
that?
I kind of would like to compete again, but I like the way I look now
Hmm.
versus the way I look when I compete. So
Hmm.
I'm on that line. Like I like not being quite so muscular
Hmm.
looking and a
Like more
little bit
softer.
softer. Yeah, I like that softer look.
Right.
Um, but I like to stay lean. I don't I don't want to be like muscular thick,
Right.
just muscular lean.
Yeah, yeah. I got you. So, I mean, you look, that's what I was gonna say. So, like, it sounds like you have, when was the last time you did a show? It's been a while.
It's been 3 years. No, yeah, about 3 years. Three and
So,
a half.
what made you stop? Because one thing that I was thinking was that you do look, still pretty lean. Like you're a few weeks out. Like you could be, potentially push it and then get into a show fairly fast. So, what made you stop competing?
Um, well, I had a lot going on, so my priorities had to shift
Hmm.
because to compete for me, I'm going to go in at 110%. If I can't give it 110, I'm not going on stage because
Right.
I don't want to do it just to be doing it and head up there. So I'm one of those. If I don't have 110% to dedicate to it, then I'll, I'm going to wait until it's the right time. I've been told there's always a show, so I
Yeah.
can always go in, pop in, do one. And I try to stay. I work out. I keep up with it. I stay lean, just in case I decided I want to pop in and do something.
Hmm.
I believe now, if I competed, I would have to be in at least figure.
Oh yeah, for sure. At least figure.
Yeah,
I was. How tall are you?
I'm 5'9".
You're 5'9". Yeah, yeah. I mean, you would. I'd think you'd be in physique. I mean, although, like, how? So, do you keep up with the sport in general? Like, who's in
Yeah,
it? What's
yeah.
happening?
I still work a lot of the shows. I work with Tim Gardner Productions.
Okay.
And so I still work a lot of the shows. I know a lot of the athletes. I stay in with everybody that's competing. I know a few of the judges. Like I keep up with everything that's going on.
So, I mean, I'm thinking you're probably going to jump in the show at some point. That's probably what's going to happen. But
I guess.
so what do you think about the girls in physique now? Like it seems like everyone is getting bigger. Like it seems like the figure girls are getting bigger, the
Mhm.
physique girls are getting bigger, and at a certain point they took out women's bodybuilding. Now it's back in. So what do you like? What do you think about everything that's kind of happening?
Um, yeah. What happens is once you become pro and you keep competing, you keep working at it, you become like most pros they'll stay lean. They'll stay close to what they know that they're, for the most part,
Mm.
they'll stay close to what they're supposed to be at, so that you're not. If you're pro minded and you know that you're going to compete, you don't want to be up and down, up and down, up and down in weight. So to to do it the smart way, you stay close to where you're supposed to be. So what happens is each year you're coming in tighter, each year you're coming in leaner, each year you're coming in better shape. So if you're staying in that same category, of course you're building because you're continuously working. That's because that's your heart, that's your drive, that's what you do. So it just the same girls are competing and they get better. You just get better every year. And so that's what your line is. It's like Logan Franklin, for example, he wanted to stay in men's physique, but you can only do it so far, and your shorts are too tight. You got to switch up to classic. You're getting bigger and bigger and
You're
bigger.
ripping out of your shorts.
Yeah. So it's that kind of thing. Like you just gotta you gotta figure out this is where I'm gonna stay, or you're gonna either have to do this and you're gonna have to move up.
Right. Well,
So
it seems kind of counterintuitive to tell somebody to like not progress, right? Because it's like
right,
once you kind of tap out, it's like you either move on to another division, which is what happened with you, or you try to go to train essentially to do nothing because like you're training to stay the same, which is like seems like counterintuitive. Why am I training to look the same? Like,
right,
and so I think it's just a difficult thing to do. I think some people have done it, but I think a lot of that comes down to like people that don't have much muscle in the first place. Like bikini girls can stay in bikini like forever because a lot of times they're not really working out as much, like as someone, who's pushing themselves in the and again, I'm not putting them down or anything like that,
right.
but there's different styles of working out,
There's
I'm sure,
different
for
styles, yes.
right, for different divisions.
Right.
So I wouldn't expect, a smaller person to push as much weight as someone who's like much larger than they are. Um so yeah, but anyway, where was I going with this? I was going somewhere. It was somewhere really important. But anyways, so with everyone getting bigger, do you think there was even a point to create like a women's like physique division? Because the whole point was, well, they didn't want to, from my understanding, they didn't want women's bodybuilding to be that kind of prime like thing in the people think of when they think of women with muscle. So they wanted to bring it down, make it more feminine. And now it seems like girls are getting back up to that same size.
Well, I think for a while what happened was they took out women's bodybuilding.
Hmm.
So a lot of the women's bodybuilding dropped down. They had to burn. I know quite a few girls. They had to burn the muscle that they had earned. So basically, it's like their routine was burning muscle
Right.
so that they could be in women's physique. But of course, coming in to women's physique with a bodybuilder's body is still going to be different than you going up the ladder and here you are in physique because they're burning to come back down. That body's going to look different, obviously.
Hmm.
It's going to be more muscular. It's going to be harder to compete against a girl that's, well, she was in bodybuilding last week and she ran all of those muscles off. Like it's like because they're so lean already
Hmm.
in the bodybuilding and their bodies are trained to constantly be burning because they have the more muscle mass you have, the more fat your body's burning. So it's
Right.
constantly burning all of that fat. It's different because they brought them in, and then a lot of the physique girls were like, "Well, got to build up to match this."
Hmm.
So I've even noticed that a lot of physique girls are starting to, in my eye, look like bodybuilding, and I'm
Hmm.
like, ooh. But because I
Yeah.
mean, don't get me wrong, their bodies look amazing. It looks great, but it's like wow, you're really building because you have to stay up to compete with all of the
Hmm.
physique girls. And then they brought back in bodybuilding, and so now I've noticed that a lot of my friends that were in physique have moved back up to
Hmm.
where they wanted to be. That was their heart. Like if you're a woman's bodybuilder, your heart and your passion is bodybuilding. It
Hmm.
is definitely not going to be physique or it's not going to be figure. It's
Right.
definitely women's bodybuilding.
Right.
So now that they've brought that back in, um, I think that will change a little bit of it.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely will change some because, like you said, now some of the girls that really just want to do bodybuilding in the first place are just going to go back up there, which
Right.
they'll probably have a good shot at it, right? Because I don't how many like there's smaller numbers, right, in bodybuilding.
It
Is that
is. It
in
is.
the at least in the IFBB Pros status?
Yeah. It depends on where you are. Because
Okay.
if you're doing like for instance, I work Tim shows, and we do Phoenix, Arizona, which is the Rising Phoenix. It's an all women's body
Right. Right.
show. We have like 20 or 30 women's bodybuilding competitors in that show. That's a pretty
Yeah.
that's a pretty solid number.
Yeah. That's now that's yeah, that's very large.
Yeah.
Um, so who do you think generally does better in physique? People that come down or people that go up? Girls that go up.
Um, I feel like girls that are going up do better because they're looking for those certain lines that you have that cut you straight from figure into physique. And with someone coming down from women's bodybuilding, there's definitely more cuts and more lines and more striations and more vascularity and everything. So, and a lot of times too, it does depend on the judge that's judging as well, because it is a little subjective, and
Sure. I mean,
some
yeah,
have a different opinion on what it's black and white, what the lines are for what they want in each division. But at the same time, you can give me black and white lines, and then you have the same black and white lines, but I see it one way and you see it another.
sure, sure, absolutely. So there are like strict criteria on what they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah, each division has its rules of what
okay,
it's looking for in the body.
gotcha. Are those changed based upon who gets rewarded? Like, sometimes you'll get a girl with a certain look, or let's just say a person in any division, even men's, will get rewarded like a bigger look, a fuller look, a thin, a leaner look. And then do those change, or those kind of stay the same and judges just judge it upon how they see it?
Yeah, I think um, I know what you're talking about. Some people come in a little leaner and a little
Hmm.
drier. Some people come in a little more full, and I think once you get on, if you're judging amateur level, it's completely different because it's it's harder to judge someone that comes in this way and then it's completely opposite this way and completely opposite this way.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But on a pro level, pretty much everybody's on that same level.
right,
So you know what, for instance, an amateur wouldn't know what your skin should look like when you get up there, what a full muscle versus a dehydrated muscle looks like, all of these
right.
different variations. But an IFBB judge is going to look at that. They're sitting there and they're like, "Oh, okay, I see this." There's a,
Hmm.
and they know whether you've had too much water. They know whether you took. They're that professional. They know whether you went to the bathroom and took a diuretic 30 minutes before
Right.
on stage, because it's the certain look that they're looking for in the skin and in your vascularity and in your body.
Sure, sure. Yeah, that makes sense. So going on, I guess since we're touching base with like the fitness industry and the division and everything like that, I mean, I'm sure you're aware that the wellness division, right, is making an appearance, I guess, in the States. So like, what do you think about that?
I like it. I would like to see if I could do it, but I would like I was told I would have to burn too much upper body.
Hmm.
Would like to see if I could do. I like it. Like
Yeah, I think
I
I think
think
it's good.
naturally, I think it's I think naturally women are bigger in the bottom
Hmm.
portion for the most part. We're because we have hips and we have this and we
Sure,
have that. I mean, obviously, occasionally not everybody's bigger in the bottom
sure.
than, but yeah, as women, I feel like that body type, or I guess I should say not as women, but that body type. Speaking of people with that body type,
Hmm.
you're thicker in the bottom and smaller at the top. So
Right. Well, some like I would hear, some people say that it's basically women that are not as lean and don't come in as lean. And I guess and they were speaking kind of negatively against it. And I mean, I guess I agree with that to a point. Maybe they're not, as lean, but some of these girls get very shredded. Like, I mean, I don't know, but like, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, uh, I don't think you will come in. Well, in bikini, you don't come in as lean as you would in figure. Or
Right.
each group has its category of where you will come in at. I think wellness will fit in between bikini and figure,
Hmm.
and I'm not sure 100% sure yet. But I feel like in wellness, you have to have a thick bottom half. The perfect example would probably be Yarishna.
Hmm. Yeah.
She's got super thick legs, super, thick
Hmm.
bottom, and
Yeah.
her body is still muscular. It's still lean, but it's a little smaller.
Right, right.
So,
Yeah, I met her a couple years ago at the Arnold. Yeah, and she would like fit that kind of criteria.
yeah,
And it dominates like primarily right now in the Hispanic speaking countries, right? Correct?
yeah,
So,
yeah. But they had a lot of the Brazilian girls, for example,
mhm.
their legs just grow.
Right, right. It's a genetic thing too. Like,
Right,
not everybody's going to be able to fit into women's bodybuilding. Not everybody's going to be able to
right,
do wellness. It's no
right.
matter how much you want to, you're to a degree limited by your genetics. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, so is Rising or the Phoenix or are they going to be like instrumental in that as well, or they're just dealing with primarily women's bodybuilding
No,
girls with
I'm sure because it's a all women's show. They have bikini, they have figure, they have physique, they have women's bodybuilding. So I'm sure they have all of the other ladies categories. So I'm sure
they'll just
um,
add that on.
they'll add that one in. Also, they started this past year doing amateur as well. So they'll have NPC
Mhm.
there also. So it's a growing show. It's a big show. It's good.
Yeah, there's a lot of money in that show, right? For as far as like the winners and everything, from my understanding.
Yeah, for that show, but it's for the women's bodybuilding. It was mainly started because they took the women's bodybuilding out of the Olympia.
Yeah, yeah.
So it used to be like the women's bodybuilding Olympia.
Hmm.
And now that they put bodybuilding back into the Olympia, I'm sure it'll still be a huge show.
Right.
But yeah.
Do you think it kind of sours on the Olympia a little bit that they took it away, now they put it back? Does that title mean as much anymore, you think? Or or you think it's about the same? It still has the same clout?
I think it has the same clout, mainly because they took it away thinking that it wasn't gonna that it didn't have as much popularity, but look
Hmm.
what happened. Like it came back. So
Right,
it's
right.
like obviously there's that popularity there. Obviously there's that demand. Obviously there's that fan base that wants that. So
Sure. Sure. So are you a proponent, I guess, of adding like more divisions, the more the better, or you think there's like a limit to that?
um I think I think there should be like a limit because if you keep adding, then just everybody
You're like
come
anybody who has any kind of body type can go ahead and come.
on in, throw some tan
Yeah,
on,
there
line
you
up.
go. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So back to like your personal like development and things of that nature. When you said you were starting to get better with nutrition, how did you like what kind of things changed? Like what do you eat right now? Like as far as like your nutrition is concerned, is it fairly like lean or, you know?
I try to stay. Obviously, I have cheat days because I'm not as lean as I should be. But
Don't we all?
but yeah, I stick with lean proteins, healthy carbs. So my lean proteins are right now. I've taken out meat because I'm not trying to build. Don't get me wrong. I will have my occasional steak because beef
So
is at my heart.
so when you say you've taken
But
out meat, you're talking about just beef, or are you saying that
beef,
meat and oh, you
no,
said
yeah,
beef.
beef.
Okay, okay, I'm sorry. Go
Um,
ahead.
But when I do eat a steak, I do make sure it's like lean. So it would be a fillet or something like that. It's not going to be just, oh, let me throw a porterhouse or a ribeye on there and go at it. But yeah, I stick with lean proteins and chicken breast and fish, white fish, and egg whites. And for carbs, I will have rice. I like jasmine rice. I have potatoes, red potatoes, sweet potatoes. I do cream of wheat. I do oatmeal. I love carbs, so
I think that's pretty much everybody. I'm like, I start off the day with like, okay, I'm gonna eat like primarily all protein, and then like somehow carbs always creep in into the day, and then I'm like, whatever.
I have this theory though. Low carb people are the ones who kill people.
How is that?
I'm telling you, you got to look up murderers and let's see, what did you have to eat within the past week? And let's see what you had. And if it wasn't any carbs in it, I'm telling you.
So you think they're just like depressed because they didn't have any carbs?
Think right. I just don't think you think right without carbs. Like your brain starts going in weird directions. And I don't know. Actually, when I compete, I have done diets where you do 2 days no carbs, 2 days with carbs, 3 days with no carbs, and then 3 days with carbs. Like all of those tricks. Those days mess with your head so bad. It's just not, it's not healthy and it's not wise. The best thing to do is keep your body fat where it needs to be, and then just go throughout having your carbs. And then that last week, you cut your carbs out that last week because your metabolism builds up to burn all of that stuff constantly. So if you stay within the same amount of calories every day, your metabolism just tears through all of that, and you just get.
So yeah, that's what I want to happen to me. So so you're a proponent of like just staying on carbs pretty much for the entire diet. You would never consider keto, or like what do you think about keto? And that's a big fad now, ketogenic diets.
I've met people that do keto. I haven't read that much about it, but for me, it's not wise to go without carbs. I think your body needs carbs for energy. Especially if you're eating healthy carbs, don't make you fat.
Right.
Healthy carbs don't make you fat. It's the stuff you add into your carbs that make you fat. It's the sugar. It's the additives. It's all the other stuff. So just don't put that stuff in. Eat your healthy carbs and burn it off like you're supposed to. Like everybody wants an instant fat loss, and you didn't put it on instantly. You ate enough food to put it on, and it comes on. It's not going to come off instant. So, I feel you have to come down slow, and it's healthier for your body too to come down slower and keep the carbs in.
So, like, what do you think is a realistic timeline to drop, a good amount of body fat? Like, what do you think people should be seeing if they start, implementing like a good diet, like you mentioned?
Usually, like I still do diet plans. I still write up diet plans and workouts and stuff like that. And if it depends on one, how overweight you are. And, because of course, if you're overweight by a good bit, then at first you're going to lose a lot really quick. But in the beginning, if you're about 20 to 30 pounds overweight, then you should lose about 15 to 20 pounds within 2 months.
That's a good amount. Yeah.
That's a steady amount that has you coming down. Usually the first week you're losing 7 pounds of water. So all of that is an extra 13 pounds, and you got 8 weeks to lose that. If
That's
you're eating right, it should come off.
that's when people get super excited. I know I do. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'll like lose the water weight the first, like week or so, and I'm like, oh, this is great,
Yes. I'm five
awesome.
pounds down already. This is gonna be easy.
It's working. So you do diets for people. You do personal training as well.
Yes.
So what's your like break as far as a percentage of competitors as opposed to lifestyle? Like, what do you do mostly?
Um, I used to do mainly I do lifestyle.
Mm,
Um, it's probably 75% lifestyle, 25% with someone wanting to compete.
sure. Okay.
Yeah.
And like, what is your approach? I mean, are most of the people in lifestyle are like extremely overweight, and you have like, so what kind of approach do you have, and what kind of clients do you usually get?
Well, it depends. It varies. I have people that are not extremely overweight and they just want to, I've got to lose this. I'm not happy. I want to
Hmm.
be happier. I feel like this, I feel like that. And so my option is to give them their meal plan. Once they start seeing, like you said, once they start seeing stuff come off, they get excited. Okay, I need more. All right, what else do we need to do? Blah, 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 blah.
Hmm.
So then they get into it. They get really excited. And I'm like, okay, so if everything's coming off this way, and as long as everything's coming off, I wouldn't change a thing if it's still
Hmm.
coming down. If something's where you stop and everything halts, then all right, are you hungry all the time? Do we need to add in more protein because your like body's holding on to something? Then it's probably time for you to add in more protein. Um,
So you change it up as it goes. Like if
yeah,
an adjustment needs to be made, you make it.
right, exactly.
Cool. What gym do you train out of? Well, let me ask you this: do you actually physically train them as well, or do you just do the meals and diets and
I
things
do
of that
both.
nature?
I do
Okay.
both.
So what gym do you train out of?
It would depend on the client. If I actually will actually go to client, I've had clients to fly me to them and train them
Hmm.
and teach them their form, their diet, all of their nutrition and stuff like that. And then, um, so in that case, I would go to your gym. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Right, right.
I have ones that I can work out here. I can work them in my gym with me.
Hmm.
Or if someone's in this area and they don't want to buy a gym membership, we have a small gym in my neighborhood. I'm like, all right, come
Right,
on, we'll go to my
right,
neighborhood and we'll work in my gym
right.
then. Like just wherever.
Hmm. Is there like a big bodybuilding gym in your area, or not so much?
The gym I go to has it has a lot of different variety. It has a lot of competitors in it. It has a lot of power lifters in it, and it
Hmm.
has a lot. It has a lot of old people in it in the morning. This is Bonita Springs. This is near Naples. We have old people everywhere.
Yeah, sure. So whenever I go back to visit my in-laws and things of that nature, and I'll go to like a random, gym that's around. It's kind of like that. You'll get like a
Yeah,
lot of older people at certain times of the day, and then you'll have other, a variety of people, those who are like more serious and. Forth. So what do you like? You said you work with Rising Phoenix, and like, what do you do primarily for them?
Usually what I do is on Fridays are usually check-ins or Thursday, depends on the show schedule.
Mhm.
So I will do check-ins. We check in athletes, um, get them ready for the next day. The next day, a lot of times I will do vendor check-ins, and I'll check in all of the vendors that morning.
Right.
I help with security. I help with backstage.
You help with security, so like beat people up if they
No,
try
no,
to rev
no.
in.
I do that sometimes. Most of the time, he has the men to do the security,
Right.
and then I'll help out backstage some, like getting athletes to the stage, calling numbers and calling um,
Hmm.
categories, and getting everybody ready to head up. And then usually that night, I usually do trophies.
Hmm.
So in between morning and night, we set up the trophies and make sure they're ready for the show the next day. I mean, for that night, not the next.
Right, right, right.
But usually I line them up in order, so all we have to do is just like take them right out.
So what do you think about like the Olympia this last year? Like, you have any kind of thoughts on any divisions or anything like that? Anything that stood out,
Is
anything
it gonna
that
be
you
bad to say that I really didn't watch it? I could just kind of know,
that you didn't.
like,
So,
because
okay, no, that's fine.
I see all of these competitors throughout the year, and so
Sure.
at the end of the year, I'm just like, okay, let me just see, because I just want to know who won, and then
Right, right. I saw bits and pieces. I mean, I wasn't able to catch, everything, but yeah. So, I mean, you're aware that like Brandon Curry obviously won the Olympia and so
right.
forth. So, did you watch? Did you see any like pictures or anything like that? Anything like?
Yeah, I did see some pictures.
You think it's well deserved, or you think, what do you think is at
I
this
didn't
point?
do the compare. I didn't look at the comparison pictures.
You're like, whatever. I'm so burned out from the
Yeah,
years.
like I know. I have friends that competed in the physique category, and I think it went really well. I have friends that competed in men's classic physique. I think it went really well. Figure, it's so close in figure. And I feel like because I know some of them, it's hard for me to be like, oh, I think she deserved it more than she did, or whatever.
Sure,
But
sure.
yeah,
I so
I keep up with some of bikini, but
mhm.
not as much. But I love Lorelai. She's amazing. I've watched her when she became pro, and she's just skyrocketed ever
Yeah,
since. And she's a beautiful person, and she's an amazing person, not just as a competitor, and
sure.
that makes a difference as well.
Oh, of course. I mean, you always go after, go for the people that you think are, good people. That
Right,
it's like, and you're always like, oh, but they look so good, and it's like you tend to, you tend to always root for them. So,
right.
as far as figure is concerned, yeah, I thought, so, Latoya pulled out for like last year. I think, but she
Right.
just pulled out for 1 year. I think it
Yeah, I
was
think
just
she
1 year.
said she was just taking a break.
Right. So like on
Yeah.
her Instagram, she posted that she had several, and this isn't anything like that the whole world doesn't know now at this point, but who follows her, but she had a bunch of uh, cysts removed from her uterus, I guess, I believe, from I remember. So
Yeah.
she was dealing with a lot of that. Now she came back, and I was curious to like see how she'd look, and she looked really
Yeah.
good in the Olympia. I mean, they could have gave it to anybody, So yeah, to your point with that. So yeah, so at this point, I guess, do you have anything like, do you want to plug like any companies that you work with, nutrition companies, anything like that you want to talk about?
No, no. Well, I could plug Beverly International. That's my favorite.
Okay. Okay.
Um, Beverly International is one of my favorite nutrition supplement providers because it's been out since the beginning of bodybuilding. It was
Mm-hmm.
one of the first nutrition companies that came out, and the products are always clean, and I always see results. And my body is super sensitive to like some of the additives that they put in a lot of the products. So like a lot of the companies, I would not even if they called me to sponsor me, I couldn't use their product because
So,
it.
so what happens? Like, tell me about that. I was just about to finish up, and now since you mentioned that, I'm interested. So, like,
Well,
what you allergic?
I'm allergic to creatine, bad.
Okay.
So if products have a lot of creatine in them and stuff like that, I'll start breaking out. I can't use a lot of the artificial sweeteners that it cause me to rash out.
Is there anything you're not allergic to
No,
that you can?
I'm not allergic to like actual food.
Right. Well, that's the best way to go anyway. So like you can't take most of proteins and stuff like that? Is,
Yeah, my body reacts to a lot of the proteins. it upsets my stomach really bad. But I can do Beverly International. It doesn't
Are you
mess.
are you lactose intolerant?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, there's a company that I use. I don't know. Are you familiar with Dave Palumbo?
Yes.
Yeah, so he had his supplement line, Species Nutrition. Like my wife is lactose intolerant really bad, and she can use his protein. So you might, if you want to outside of the one that you already are using,
Right.
you could try to check that out as well.
All right.
So do you do anything for like recovery wise? Like do you do like, some saunas, massages, anything like that that kind of helps your
Yeah.
body recover?
Yes. I think the best thing you can do for your body is if now I don't keep up with it as much. I go get a massage once a month, probably go to the chiropractor once a month. But if I'm competing,
Hmm.
I go chiropractor 1 week, get a massage the next week, chiropractor 1 week, massage the next week. I alternate it so that your body stays in full mobility, full motion. You're
Hmm.
constantly getting those muscle fibers regenerated and torn down and healed up through massage and getting the inflammation out, everything you need to do. And then
Yeah.
like 2 weeks before a show, I'll start getting a massage. I'll get one twice a week
Hmm.
because it just pulls all of the
Gets
water
all the
out.
knots out. Oh,
Yep,
the water. You said it pulls all
everything.
the
It
water out?
helps because your body, those muscles hold inflammation, and wherever there's inflammation in the body, water goes to it because it's trying to
Hmm.
heal that area. So if you're getting
Yeah.
massage, you're breaking down that inflammation in the body. You're breaking down that's causing those muscles to be so tight.
Sure.
And plus you, like I said, those last 2 weeks you kind of cut out your carbs and stuff. So you're
Mhm.
kind of feeling, you know,
Right. Yeah.
sleepy already, and it kind of rejuvenates the body and refreshes you and gets you ready for the next day.
Yeah. I uh used to not pay attention to recovery nearly as much when I was younger. Now that I've gotten a little bit, older, it's so important. And I feel like I don't need to work out as much and just add more recovery to it. As before when I was young, I used to go gun ho on the training and not care at all about like anything that, actually helps me to recover. So
Exactly.
I think that's a big mistake that some people make. They don't really focus on just letting your body rest, recover, whatever you got to do to make that happen. So
Right. Everything
okay,
everything ties in together. The
sure,
body,
sure.
the body is a machine, and it is an amazing machine.
Yeah, absolutely. It's well made, and it's like you can either help it move along and be consistent and help it stay strong as long as possible, or you can do everything to tear it down. So
Exactly.
but hey, thanks for coming on. Um, and how would people reach you if they wanted to get some nutrition, some training? Like, what would be the way to contact you?
Um, they could contact me on Instagram. I am IFBB Pro underscore Tonya. So you can contact me on Instagram. You can contact me on Facebook, but probably should use my athlete page because I don't go on Facebook that much anymore. Like I
Yeah.
found messages on there the other day that were like a month old and they were wanting. I was like, oh
People
man,
probably think you're like a jerk. You're like, why did she respond back?
she's such a
Well,
bitch. But I'm like,
well,
no, I didn't mean to. Like I really don't go on Facebook that much.
well, there you go. And your email, which is how we were talking from initially, is what? Do you remember? Can you want to plug that in?
Yeah, my email is Tonya TonyaRSIMP @msn.com.
Okay, awesome. Well, hey, thanks again for coming
Thank
on. It
you.
was a great conversation. We did about an hour, so I think that's probably about what people's attention span will be.
Yeah,
So all right. Well, I appreciate it. You have a good day,
thank
all right?
you.
Take care.
I
Bye-bye.
appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye.